He says, "I'm blessed my cancer was caught quickly."
Yeah, so really interesting interview with Jeremy Hunt. Obviously, diverging out of his brief as Chancellor, he talks about how both of his parents died of cancer. His brother, aged 53, has been diagnosed with a sarcoma, quick-moving cancer. He himself was diagnosed with skin cancer. He had a mole on his head that just kept growing. It was removed quickly, and he says it wasn't life-threatening. But he's essentially saying that the NHS needs to, well, the government and the NHS need to sort of pull their socks up with treating cancer. And you can see where he's coming from. At the moment, Britain is languishing in the league tables for cancer diagnosis times and for recovery rates within 5 years. So his sort of excuse or justification for doing this interview is that actually it does affect the Treasury as well. Yeah. If a cancer is diagnosed at stage 3 or stage 4, then it's twice as expensive for the taxpayer as if it's diagnosed at stage 1 and stage 2. And obviously, with an ever-ageing population, then the problem of cancer is just going to get bigger and bigger and more expensive.
Olivia, thank you very much indeed. We'll take this conversation forward now to Dr. Frankie Jackson-Spence on this one. Frankie, so what we're getting here is early diagnosis is the key.
Absolutely. I can't name a single cancer that, if you don't pick it up early, doesn't improve survival rates. You know, we talk a lot about things like early detection of bowel cancer or breast cancer through the national screening programs. And that's because the early detection means that it's caught at a later stage where you can, an earlier stage where you can intervene with surgery, which is often curative. In the case of Jeremy Hunt that we've heard about this morning, the mole that he developed on his head was able to be removed surgically and therefore hadn't spread to other parts of the body. And that's when the poorer outcomes come, once it spreads to other parts of the body.
What about the fact that his family seems to have been so badly affected by the C word, by cancer? It so often happens, doesn't it, that
like
you have
running
families...
in the family,
Yeah, even though it might not be the same cancer. And one always thinks that skin cancer has got sort of environmental factors. It doesn't matter whether you've got a tendency or not. I mean, sort of bust some of the myths and tell us how it works, particularly, you know, for those families where they really worry about cancer.
So unfortunately, actually 1 in 2 of us will develop cancer at some point. So certain cancers do have genetic and familial elements to it, but actually a lot of our lifestyle is responsible for cancer, as well as the fact that we are living longer, we're an aging population, and we're getting better at picking cancers up. In the case of this skin cancer, I believe his parents actually had different types of cancer. So it's unlikely that the skin cancer was genetic and probably was more likely related to UV sun exposure, which is the biggest risk factor for skin cancers. But you're right that cancers can run in the family. We know there are strong genetic links with some certain types of cancer. And if you've had a family member with a type of cancer, particularly at a younger age, then you are at higher risk and should take all suspected cancer seriously, but particularly if you have cancer running in your family.